What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today when I talk to you on Lucid, I want to break it down. What caused this sell-off first thing for Lucid? Go over what caused this rally. I'm going to go over the data points and everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So Lucid did close 2.26% in the green, breaking its 20 consecutive red day trend that it was on. So a round of applause to that. Good job on Lucid, even though no news came out from Lucid to really justify that round of applause, but whatever. So technically though, what caused this sell-off first thing and caused a new 52 weekend all-time low of $2.54, but that all started from Ford. So Ford did say that they are cutting production of their F-150 Lightning EV, and they cited that it's just not profitable. There is no demand in EVs. So of course, if a big OEM cannot produce successfully any EVs, what chance does Rivian, does Lucid, does any other EV out there aside from Tesla have? So that's kind of what escalated the whole EV sector to go down this morning. And then when it came down to it though, what caused this was algorithmic trading. So someone wanted a new record high for the S&P and just the broader indexes to occur today. So simply put, someone wanted to buy everything out there and a lot of value plays. So even though Lucid has been going down because of its technicals, it was extremely oversold. So coming from a value standpoint, I feel like there is some to be had, and plus the technicals. So the Elliott wave technicals did look fairly good. So that also kind of aided probably in AI to really drive this a little bit higher. I'm going to talk all about that. So when it comes down to it though, even though there was a record high on the S&P occurring today, there was also another record, and that was shorts. So today was a very interesting day. So shorts did increase 3.67 million shares today. 29.58% of the free float is being shorted. 261.79 million shares overall are being shorted. And cost to borrow is around, or the average is 22.28%. Interesting to note though, the minimum, so cost to borrow minimum is negative 0.7. Very clear indication that there is manipulation, meaning there is a broker out there somehow, I don't know how they can make any money, but they're paying someone to short Lucid because that's why it's negative, right? So something's weird about that, but utilization is 95.63, short score is 84.32, and a couple other things I just wanted to bring up. Going over here for a second, so through interactive broker short availability does indicate that there is 0 shares available to be shorted. So shorts really do seem that they overextended themselves. Based on the technicals as well, things are looking somewhat positive. So I'm going to talk on that in a second. But even though the S&P did reach a all-time high today, it does look like also shorts had their all-time high. So the highest short interest Lucid ever did have prior to today was about 28.8%. So 29.58% is now the high. That's the highest Lucid has ever been for the short interest, which is completely crazy if you ask me. The fact that they do produce something, there's a lot of companies out there that have like a fraction of this short interest, but they don't do anything. They just dilute and burn money. But Lucid actually does something. So like I've said in the past, someone has a vendetta against Lucid, or it might be someone might have a vendetta against the PIF. I don't know. Who knows? It might be the whole kind of scenario about maybe the states going to the moon, planned going to the moon, and just to bankrupt Russia. Maybe someone's wanting to bankrupt the PIF. I don't know. That's just more tinfoil hat conspiracy kind of crap right now. But very interesting to see shorts still double down regardless of everything. And when it comes to the technicals, like I've brought up in the past, the Elliott wave technicals did point for a downtrend and the continuation of that. I believe up until like $1.90 range to around 230. But because of this recent development, what happened, so it does show the new pivot point being 268. And in the short term, a lot more optimism because it's anticipating for it to go between 297 and 301. So the Elliott wave technicals have been on point as I've pointed out to you in the past. So that might be a little bit more optimism, at least something to look forward to. Options wise, $1.88 million in calls being purchased versus $16 million in puts. And sentiment wise, 59% of all the options being done today were bearish. So even though Lucid's technicals are somewhat looking a little bit more optimistic and it had that new kind of high, shorts or someone else is just anticipating for Lucid still to continue to trend down. Looking at some of the call options that were purchased though, there is an anticipation for it to be roughly around $3 by the end of next week. So that's kind of nice. Once again, a little bit more optimism coming back to options. Looking at puts, it is anticipated for it to be sub $2. And aside from that though, a couple of other things to point out. So with it closing at 271, it is currently trading between this S3 and this S2. So 239 is a very strong support that so far has not been tested. And then 273, that was a very strong resistance that Lucid didn't really have enough to stay above. So it did briefly get as the high of 285 today, but because of it not really having any justified reason for that, it got dragged back down into this range. So going into next week, you'll just have to watch to see if it has enough to get above this pivot point of 273. Tesla, I believe, does have their earnings as well, so that could be a very big roller coaster for the broader market and just EVs as a whole. So let me know your thoughts. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Lucid? So give yourself a shout out in the comments below. I do want to play this video. It's only roughly about a minute of this, but kind of puts it in perspective on what Ford did truly say and maybe what it might mean for Lucid going forward. But first, one thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo. So it just started on January the 15th. Simply sign up for an account with Moomoo, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So link to that is in the description below and also the comments. So definitely make sure you take advantage of that while you can. So with that, let me know your
latest
thoughts.
sign of slowing demand for EVs. Ford announcing it's reducing production of its F-150 Lightning. For that, we're going to turn to Phil LeBeau this morning. Morning, Phil.
Good morning, Carl. This is Ford announcing on April 1st that it will be cutting its production of the F-150 Lightning, going from 2 shifts, which it currently operates at its Rouge complex just outside of Detroit, where they build the F-150 Lightning. They're going to bring that down to 1 shift starting on April 1st. Some of those workers, about 1,400 impacted, they're going to be transitioned over to additional production for the Bronco and the Ranger. This is, if you're thinking to yourself, wait a second, didn't they just cut their guidance in terms of EV production? Yeah, they did that last month. Basically cut their 2024 production plan in half, and now they are saying we are going to be cutting Lightning production again. So if you look at Lightning sales last year as well as the year before, they did increase. It was the top-selling electric pickup truck. 24,000, just over 24,000 sold last year. But Ford said after they came out of the UAW contract, we're going to be deferring about $12 billion in EV investments. Not cutting it, but just not rolling it out as quickly as originally planned because the market is not developing as quickly as planned. So this is a prudent move by Ford. If you don't have the sales there, you just can't keep building and building and building, shipping them out or trying to sell them to dealers who, by the way, when I've talked with
And I feel like that last part right there, it does hit home to Lucid. Definitely. The fact that Lucid, it needs to figure out what its niche is. And I have said that as more of an excuse for Lucid in the past, is just saying, well, they're trying to find out what the market truly does want from them, whether it be a low price vehicle, maybe the Sapphire. They're trying to learn, right? And so you're going to have some wins and you're going to have some losses. So far, Lucid has been missing on a lot, especially based on my video yesterday. Clearly, the PR is not even being that successful, and that's the lowest price vehicle. So Lucid, I don't know if it can actually survive up until 2026, 2027 for that mid-size SUV or a lower price vehicle. I feel like that should take the forefront and more of a priority than anything else. But then again, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with all that, I appreciate all of you watching.